Suck my balls, Cal. No! No, he has to suck my balls!
You like to suck my balls, don't deny it.
Oh, suck my balls, you ginger Jew rat hall monitor! Punk-ass stoolie, who the do you think you are? Suck my balls, K-10. That's right, suck my Canadian balls! Suck my balls! No, you suck my balls! Thanks, everybody. Suck my balls! Yeah, whatever, you can suck our balls. Suck my balls, 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 suck my balls.
How would you children like to suck on my chocolate salty balls?
Oh, you mean like a chocolate candy?
No, I mean my balls.
Yes. Yes!
Ladies and gentlemen, that's right. Welcome back to another edition of
Suck my balls, 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 suck my balls,
Suck My Balls,
suck my balls,
SouthPark Review.
suck my balls.
I, of course, am your boy. I'm your host in the heat, and I can't be beat. I'm your guy who's high, where the air is dry. Yeah, boy. MSGGGG. You can follow me on Twitter and on Instagram at Matthew_Sheffer. Each and every week, me and my homies, we'd like to get all baked up from our sponsor, the Big Boys Club. No, I'm serious. They don't actually give us weed. They give us cool shirts, though. BigBoysClub.com. Each and every week, me and my boys like to get together and talk a little bit of South Park. And recently, we're doing it a couple times a week because we got a brand new season, season 25. And you're back for another South Park review if you're watching this on our YouTube. Of course, I am not alone because, you know, it'd be kind of weird if I'm just sitting here by myself talking to myself. Unless I was doing like a narration video, which bravo to you if you did one of those as well. But I digress. He's back. He's got his big boy shirt on. He's looking fresh. He's looking clean. And by God, he's smoking that green. Ladies and gentlemen, give it up for my boy, Dirty Joe Vernola.
Hey, it's the cheesiest host in podcasting. With a voice so cheesy, his name may as well be Smegma.
All right. Well, what an introduction. We're back for your South Park review. Happy Friday to you as we record this on Friday, February the 11th, 2022. And hopefully it'll be up that same day. And you can
Hey guys, just a hint. Monday's Valentine's Day. Don't fuck this up.
Oh, but we're single, right? Are you single?
We'll talk.
Oh boy. Well, I guess we'll talk. Ladies and gentlemen, we're back for a South Park review. And this is season 25's episode number 2. It's The Big Fix. And apparently, Joe, we're racist. That's what
I know.
Apparently we're all
And
racist.
and here's the thing. I've had like some racist tendencies that like I can pretty much recognize when they were hard programmed in me that I have worked my way out of. But for 25 years, I apparently was wrong about some shit.
These people, this is the blacks of the Tolkien black family. If you say it correctly, you can say it Tolkien. You don't have to like really alter too much of the phrasing. For those not understanding and like, what the fuck are these guys talking about? On the brand new episode of South Park, season 25, episode 2, titled The Big Fix, we learned that Token's name is not spelled Token. It's spelled like the author,
Tolkein.
Tolkien. So if you or anybody else thought it was spelled any differently or thought it meant anything different, you have racial bias, unconscious racial bias, and you are a piece of shit. You need to call.
You are part of the problem.
You're part of the problem.
You are the fucking problem.
So I find it, for obviously, guys, for those who are really triggered, come on, don't get triggered here. They were obviously making fun of themselves as well, because for 24 years, his name has been Token Black. That's how it's been sold. You can go on the internet archives. You can see it's been that way. Now, recently, since the last 48 hours, everything's been updated. If you go on all the sites now and the wikis and everything, it's all been updated to his brand new spelling, right?
Yeah, it has, which is pretty funny. And it's they just retcon the whole thing. It's fucking great.
Right. I saw some comments in the South Park Fans United group that somebody thought if this episode kind of felt like it was it couldn't decide whether it wanted to be a reboot or not of the series. And I was like, that's an interesting take. I hadn't thought about it like that, but in perspective now afterwards, when they're trying to reboot a character, I could see that take and why someone would think that way.
Maybe. I don't know if it's necessarily a reboot. Like I said, it feels more like a retcon. Like, no, this has always been this kid's name and you're a dumb piece of shit for thinking anything else, which I think I made a joke a couple months ago on an episode where I'm like, well, what if his name is actually after J.R.R. Tolkien? But
I think you did make that.
Yeah,
joke.
I think it was one of the three of us. Like, I know the joke has been
probably
made.
During the episode where we reviewed the Lord of the Rings.
Yeah, and
the return to the Two Towers, the Lord of the Rings, or whatever it was called.
Yeah, the return of the Two Towers to the video store.
Yeah.
And it was, and it feels more like a retcon. And honestly, even though last week I said it feels like we're getting away from the serialization of seasons, this feels more like a season premiere than last week did. Last week felt like, hey, we're back.
Right. Let's have some fun. Here's a fun South Park episode.
Yeah. And this week feels more like, all right, guys, it's back to work. This is what our season is going to be about. And here's a political issue that is major that like you haven't been thinking about, that we're going to hit you in the face with and make you think about. This felt more like South Park has felt the last 5, 6, 7 years than last week felt.
That's a good point. I would agree with that. You know, they definitely tried. It looks like they've set up a story arc here, and let's kind of talk about that here. That's what we're here to talk about as well. The episode was titled "The Big Fix." The episode itself starts off with Randy, and he's at this weed convention, right? And it's called the Cannabis Cultivators Expo, which is a real thing. And he attends a panel that discusses, consumers and their demands as far as for more persons of color being the marijuana growers, right? Because primarily, and this is factual statement as well, the medicinal and recreational market in marijuana is primarily owned by white people, corporations, white corporate motherfuckers, while, our friends who we've known since kids, some of them are still sitting up in jail for selling weed. You know what I mean? So there's some factual statements there that this guy actually makes to start this episode. Now, Randy's high off his ass at this Cultivators Expo. And then he kind of gets a real, kind of a shot in the arm when it's revealed to him, yeah, you're going to have to, it's revealed to him that, more and more consumers are buying weed less from white people and they're buying more from businesses owned by persons of color. Right?
He needs to diversify his staff is what it comes down to.
Right. So let's show a little bit there. Now, of course, this is very brand new episode. So we got to be, cautious on how much we show here. We're going to try not to show more than 15, 20 seconds of the video, but you should still be able to hear the audio. We haven't had any issues there. So here's Randy as he begins at the Cannabis Cultivators Expo.
Those most affected by the racist war on drugs have now been locked out of the wealth creation of the industry. Luckily, the public is starting to understand this unfairness, and many people are now talking of boycotting cannabis growers who are only white-owned.
Boycotting away, what?
Just look at Randy's face there. We'll stop it right there. Boycotting, why? What? First of all, Randy just
right. And
high off his ass there is Randy.
Right. And I love that scene for a couple reasons, because it shows the legitimacy of the industry, because people have this fucked idea in their head that it's literally just a bunch of bangers and street dealers legitimizing themselves, and that's not what it is.
No, it's not. It's what it is corporate lobbyists, people like that, people who have lots of money and corporations who have been sitting back in the cut waiting for this to be legal and then investing. Meanwhile, at the same time, also from a legal standpoint, been lobbying for harder laws against marijuana when it was illegal. You know what I mean?
Exactly. And so it shows that it's a legitimate business. But then if you look at everyone in that audience, other than Randy, they are very obvious stoners, but they're A, not stoned out of their gourd, and B, they're highly functioning.
Now it moves from there. Now Randy thinking, crap, I need to start employing more persons of color. He has a family meeting here. So let's go to his family meeting here with Shelly, Sharon, and Stan, where he's going to talk to them about why they should have more black friends.
We don't really have any black friends. We don't reach out to the black community. Shelly, you never bring any black dudes over. I mean, Stan, your 3 best friends are all white.
There's only one black kid in my whole class.
All right, let's pause there. Pretty much the scene there. We don't need to go into more detail. That's essentially how the scene plays out. Randy's kind of guilt tripped them, and you guys we don't have enough black friends and family.
Yeah, and Randy's deferring his guilt.
Right,
he's deflecting. It's fucking great.
He's deferring and deflecting his guilt, and the scene culminates with him saying, we got to do better as people, just for food for thought. But the reason why I want to stop there and pinpoint something there, because this is kind of been a good conversation piece online for the South Park fandom groups and just fans itself, was the fact that Stan says, I only have one black friend in my class. So there's been a little bit of a conversation back and forth. How many 4th grade classes are there? Now, we do see when the kids exit the 4th grade class, that means Stan, on the opposite side, you do also see another classroom exit. However, there's no dictation on the doors. It never says like 4th grade, because we do know there's another black student there. Her name's Nicole, and Cartman tried to get Token and Nicole paired up as boyfriend and girlfriend. So when Stan makes the statement, there's only one black friend in the class, it's either A, there's 2 different classes as far as multiple 4th grade classes, or it cements his unconscious bias further and doesn't even realize there's more than one black student.
Well, they even had her in an episode since season 23.
Bro, she was in the background at the assembly in this episode.
Okay, and
Yeah.
see, I'm not very good at detail like that, where I'm looking at every face in the.
Well, I'm not normally that to be that way as well, and I'm not trying to be that guy. But when you look at a sea of white characters and there's one dark character in the audience, it's kind of easy to pick out. You know what I mean? So you're like, oh shit, Nicole's in the audience.
Okay, fair enough. And yeah,
I mean, that's what it really was. I'm not like intently looking. It was just like you see the audience and you're like, oh, there's Nicole.
Mm-hmm.
And then you go, oh, wait a minute. There is more than one black student in South Park, right? Like that character has actually been established. So when Stan makes that statement, it is a little confusing. Now, somebody did point out on Twitter, and that's why I was having that conversation. They said, well, potentially, and they pulled up a picture that there's 2 classes, that they're maybe there's 2 different 4th grade teachers, and not all the 4th graders are in the same physical classes. So which would make sense from an elementary school standard. I mean, I'm not saying that doesn't make sense.
Right, because there were 5 classes of any grade when I was in elementary school, and at any given time 4 of those classes were in session and the 5th was taking time off.
Right. That's interesting. I mean, or just depends. Like I went to an elementary school where there was like 2 4th grade teachers. So, I mean, it just depends on the city and the size, right? So
yeah, and that may be what is going on in South Park.
Well, moving from there now, Stan, he takes the initiative. He's like, I got to invite Token over to my house, right? So he's gonna roll up on Token in school here, and he's gonna invite him over for dinner. So let's go quickly to that. And I like Butters' little quip here as well.
Hey, Token. Oh, hey, Stan.
Stop
listen,
real quick. Where everybody had been saying that Stan sounds different this week and Mackie sounded different last week, I'm still not going with the Mackie thing. But like as soon as he said something, I'm like, Jesus Christ, Trey sounds sick.
All right, well, let's go back here. Let me rewind that a second here, and we'll try that again here, and I'll see if I pick it up this time.
Hey, Token. Oh, hey, Stan. Listen, how you doing? Fine. Look, Token, I think maybe you and I should hang out more. What are you talking about? I mean, we never just hang out, you and me.
Hey, we never hang out, just you and me either, Stan.
Shut up, Butters. Look, will you please just see if your family will come over for dinner?
Okay, so now that it's been pointed out to me again, yes, it definitely does sound a little off. And I'm probably going to go with the fact that he's sick. Like, it just sounds like he's probably under the weather, right? I mean, especially...
Yeah, it sounds like he's got a frog in his throat. I didn't mean
some phlegm, and I totally get that. All right, so moving on here, let's jump into the dinner here really quick. We're going to play a couple seconds, 15, 20 seconds from the dinner here, as the Marshes have now invited over the Blacks. And it's pretty funny here.
We've never been to a marijuana farm before.
Well, with our boys starting to become so close, we
Thought we'd better get the families together. If they're friends, then we need to be friends, huh? Do you mind if I post this? Check out our friends.
Oh my gosh. Okay, before we get into the next part where we find out about Token's name, this is such a weird fact. Like, I mean, I imagine there actually is people doing this where they have black friends over persons of color and taking pictures with them on Instagram so that way they can appear. Like, that's very odd. Like, to like force that. You know what I mean? Like, it's one thing, like, if you're at an outing event with your friends who happen to be persons of color, hey, let's take a picture. You know what I mean? Capture the moment. That's different. Like, but like to specifically invite somebody over so you can get internet clout, that's very, it's sus and it sucks that that's the type of society we live in. It's the I'm not racist, but crowd. That's really what it is. You're right. It's the I'm not racist, but crowd. Yeah, I don't know. The whole nonsense of the racism to me is, I still don't, even at the age of 34, don't get it. Just like hating somebody just because of how they look, their skin color. If anything, like it makes them more unique and cool. Like in my opinion, like as we're all different. Like that's what makes us human and awesome. Like I don't. Yeah. I'd be like me hanging out with my buddy. I don't want to actually, I was going to name drop him, but I'd be like hanging out with my buddy who's a drummer and then being like, oh, check it out. I got my friend, he's black, so I'm hanging out with him. I'm posting on it. Here's all my pictures with him. Let me go out of my way to hang out with them. Like that's weird. Or like my best friend Rome, most of his family is black. He's, his stepdad is black. So, his brothers and sisters are half black, half Asian. That'd be like me. Oh, let me hang out with Sean more so I can get more, views. Shout out to you, Sean. Since I listen to the podcast. It's just a very odd thing. So yes, Randy invited over the black family here so that way he could get clout. That's his fix. That's his whole thing of this story. We're not going to go through every scene, but basically Randy invites over a black family in hopes that he can get them to join his business so that way he can create more clout in the marijuana business. All right, so let's go to a quick clip here, and this is we're going to find out what the crux of Tolkien's name is. Where it actually comes from, and then both the realization by both Randy and Stan. Oh fuck! All right, that's his name.
That was everyone's reaction.
I know. Okay, here let's go to that here.
Why did you name your son that?
My husband has always been a huge fan of Lord of the Rings and The Hobbit.
I wanted to name my son after my favorite author. She didn't want to name our son J.R.R., so we just named him Token.
We'll stand in Randy there.
His name is Tolkien? Holy shit, that's what his name means.
That's how the internet reacted. That's how we were all, holy shit. Tolkien?
Right? Like all of a sudden.
Immediately you're like, wait a minute, did South Park just gaslight me? Did they just fucking turn me into a racist?
Right? That's like when, like, in all those con movies or any movie like that where you just like have like the flashbacks of everything over the and then all of a sudden, oh shit, it was like a Kaiser Soze moment.
So from there we see Randy invite Mr. Black into his, so he's like, oh, you want to see my marijuana farm, how it's processed, just to try to change the subject. So he takes him through, we don't need to show that, but takes him through for a little tour. And at the end of it, he's like, hey, I got a great idea. You should come work for Integrity Farms. He's like, Randy, I have a full-time job as an executive consulting, tax, blah, blah, blah. And Randy's like, wait, I got an idea. Can I send my receipts over to you? And you could be like an executive consultant. He's like, that's what we do. Sure. He's like, yeah, this is going to be great. And he also takes a picture with them, right? So while that goes on, now Stan sneaks into the bathroom because he's got to call Kyle and be like, dude, what the fuck? This is his name? So let's go quickly to that clip. And the clip, he follows up by calling Cartman. It's hysterical.
My head is reeling. You're not going to believe this.
Not gonna believe what?
Token's name isn't Tolkien. It's Tolkien.
Yeah, I know it's Token.
No. He's named after the guy who wrote The Hobbit and stuff.
Yeah, I know. J.R.R. Tolkien. What did you think it was?
You knew it was Tolkien, like the writer. What's up, dog? Dude, Cartman, did you know that Tolkien is named after J.R.R. Tolkien? Well, yeah, I just figured. Then why did you spell it Tolkien without the L or the I? J.R.R. Tolkien has an L in it? That's gay. Who did you think Tolkien was named after?
Okay, so a couple funny things there. Obviously, Cartman his voice didn't sound too off there, but that's probably because it's a unique voice that Trey has to do in general to make that voice, right? So it's a little bit different. But first off, he was listening, and Cartman's watching Canada on Strike episode, which I thought was kind of meta.
Yeah, I thought that was great.
Canada on Strike. Anyway, and we'll review that episode and much more South Park episodes. Because if you didn't know, we review South Park in linear fashion. You can go and check out Suck My Balls, a South Park review across all podcast platforms. We've got over 112 episodes up there as we review every episode in order. And we're just now getting to the conclusion of season 7, which are coming up on Raisins, as well as Butt Out and All About Mormons. They're up there right now. So go check it out right now. Suck My Balls, a South Park review. We're also, of course, sponsored by the BakeBoysClub.com. Use our code SuckMyBallsPod, as Joe's flaunting some awesome merch there. Use our code SuckMyBallsPod and you'll save 20% off your order. And you can get an awesome shirt just like the one Joe has right there as I'm pointing to it on the screen. So go there right now, BakeBoysClub.com. Bake Boys, not just a brand, it's a lifestyle. Okay, so back to the episode now. Let's get into more of Stan. Stan's that realization, right? That he has been saying and thinking Tolkien's name, just like all of us, was spelled Token. It even references the Tokens Lives Matter shirt and stuff like that Cartman has worn in the past. And it's just a lot of meta references just in this like 30 seconds of scene.
The whole realization is just fucking hilarious. Yeah. And I'm trying to think, other than Token Lives Matter, if they had ever spelled out his name.
Multiple times. You can go back to early seasons where there's drawings in the background of where it's spelled Token.
Okay.
Remember in the Day After Tomorrow episode where Token is patient 0, he's drawn in the book and it's spelled Token.
Oh, okay. And you got to remember concussions and
you're good.
Big boys.
It's fun. No, it's fine. So following that here, again, we're not showing all the scenes. Randy, take that picture he took of Token Black. He makes a giant billboard and it says Integrity Weed. So Token Black sees that as he's driving, Mr. Black sees that as he's driving down the road. So he immediately rolls back up to the farm, yells at Randy, and Randy actually convinces him, look, we could be like the Ben and Jerry of weed. You know, basically making the point that, look, we can be partners in this and make a shitload of money. And he actually, surprisingly, convinces Mr. Black to do this. I was like, wow, okay. So they're going to go into business. Now, following this, after this realization, we're going to go to this clip. Stan's going to go to the doctor because Stan is trying to figure out if he's a racist or not. And the doctor's reaction is great, too. Like, get the fuck out of my office.
It's better than going to the internet.
Better than going to the internet, of course. So here we go.
I think I might be horribly racist. Thought his name was Token, like a black kid that's just there so that like there's a black kid.
And how long have you thought that?
25 years.
I've thought that the whole time.
25 years.
Wow. You. You really thought a couple of black people had a child and named him Token?
This is another one that a couple years down the road, people are going, oh, fuck, they were saying so much more than they were actually saying. Because there's just some of the audience that they're talking to that, oh, yeah, his name's Token fucking Black.
Right.
That shit. And they're like, yeah, it was thrown at us, too. It was thrown right in our face. Because, like you said, they gaslighted the fuck out of us.
They certainly did. All right, let's go to a quick montage here of Randy and Mr. Black, as well as Stan learning about J.R.R. Tolkien. Because at the conclusion of that, Stan's like, "What should I do?" And the doctor's like, "You need to do a lot of reading." So instead of like reading about Tolkien, about fucking Lord of the Rings here. So here's that montage.
The Night Pig Wiggin rides on a frisky earwig and sends his love.
I forgot they read it.
A bracelet of Emmett's eyes, making an assignation.
Old Tom Bombadil was a married fella. Bright Blues jacket was.
And then he starts reading. I'm sorry, I'm gonna say it like this. Then he starts reading it like in a thug-like voice, like someone who's black. That's the joke here too.
Yeah.
White puppy dog, black puppy dog.
Puppy and white puppy play together in the backyard. Why can't we?
All right, we'll get hit for copyright, I think, if we play too much of that. As they had already. As the next scene, they tried to get sued because it's a rip-off of fucking Ebony and Ivory.
Which they only get away with it here because it's used in parody.
Right.
I know you're going to cut all this out, but those dogs were fucking cute.
They were. All right, let's go here to this next scene really quick. So this is how the relationship between Randy and Mr. Black break down. And we're going to get back more into Stan here as he's going to hold a school assembly. But before we get to that, Mr. Black comes into the office where Randy and Tally are dancing to Black Puppy, White Puppy, and he presents him an idea about Tolkien strains of weed, and Randy thinks it's stupid. So this is how this relationship is going to fall apart, and Randy's going to unfortunately make a brand new rival.
Black puppy bitch, white black. Hey guys, got something really exciting to show you.
It's like Rack City.
It is like Rack City, bitch. Rack City, bitch. He made another parody. I forgot about
Yes.
We do an entire line of cannabis based on all the different races of Middle Earth.
Why have they not done that
We
yet?
do 7 different strains in all, representing the dwarves, the elves, even the Uruk-hai.
What's going to happen now?
Yeah, no.
Everyone will think we're dorks.
Yeah, this interaction right here is what's going to be Randy's downfall, because he would not compromise here with Mr. Black. And you don't even have to, he could, you know what he should have done? How about instead of let's do an all 7, let's test 1, see what people like. And if people like it, then we can go ahead and move forward. That's a compromise with your business partner, right? Let's see if if one strain, if it's a hit, and if it is, then we'll go ahead and cultivate more.
Oh, see, I would totally buy some shit called Gandalf the Grey.
No, I understand that, but like if you're not into Lord of the Rings or anything like that too, like it's only, marketed at a specific demographic of fans, right? So why not put out the strain? And if the weed speaks for itself, then it doesn't fucking matter what it's called. It could be called Gobbledygooker's asshole and I'll fucking smoke it.
Gobbledygooker's asshole. Speaking of which, I had some shit called Hulkamania the other day that I bought strictly because it was called Hulkamania.
Right,
It
exactly.
was great. And it was great.
And it was great. But if it hadn't been great, you would have gone online and been like, brother, this fucking weed sucked, brother. You know what I mean? So like if you're going to put something like that and attach something like that, then you definitely got to make sure the weed's good. So I think they should have at least tested out one market,
Oh no, I totally agree. And I'm saying that even as someone that is not super hardcore into the Lord of the Rings and the Hobbit and shit, I would totally buy some shit called Gandalf the Grey just because it's called Gandalf.
Right. Okay. So let's go here now. Stan has been going through school. He's been holding rallies and, sessions to try, bring light to Tolkien, basically try to shift his blame. Like, did you guys know that his name was Tolkien? Tolkien's name is named after J.R.R. Tolkien, and everybody does. So again, Stan's the only one that doesn't know. But here's an assembly with the return of this week, Pacey Principal, brah.
We have a special announcement today. One of our 4th grade students says he's done a lot of work and has grown as a person, and he'd like to share his journey with you. Please welcome Stan Marsh.
In fact, how many of you knew that our classmate Tolkien was named after J.R. Tolkien?
Okay, so I'm pausing it here because I want to see if we can point it out. I can point it out to her. There she, if she's in the audience. Oh no, there she is, right there. She's right in front. So center up, kindergartners.
Yeah, right above Bebe.
Right there. So like she's there. She's a 4th grader. Anyway, I just wanted to point that out. Let's go here.
Yeah, okay. And I love the douchebag glasses that Stan's wearing.
Right. All right. So let's go here let's continue this here. And then we're going to hear Tolkien's reaction because Tolkien does not like his name.
I actually don't like Lord of the Rings. And I don't like The Hobbit. Just because my dad's into that stuff doesn't mean that I am. I've always hated that my name is Tolkien. But I didn't really have a choice, did I? So please, whatever you do, just don't draw any more attention to my name. I can't stand any of it. It's just a bunch of nerdy, jive-ass dragon shit.
It's a bunch of nerdy, jive-ass dragon shit.
And just, this is something to add to over the years of Randy and Stan and the Marshes in general trying to get along with the Blacks, especially after, with all apologies to Jesse Jackson.
Oh my gosh. All right. So then the episode's going to round out here now. As it comes to a conclusion now, as we find out the Blacks, Tolkien and his father and his mother have actually bought a farm. They've moved out there and Tolkien's going to be around more. So and Stan, of course, admits to Tolkien that he's had some unconscious bias. So let's go to that quick conclusion here.
Tolkien, I have something I have to tell you.
Okay.
This whole time, I thought your name was Token. Like the token black person.
Wow.
Wow, I was right.
Yeah.
Wow. Why would my parents name me something that means the only black person?
I don't know.
That's why I'm here. My parents just bought the farm across the street.
What?
Yep, Randy's bought the farm here, so let's go here to the end of the episode now as Randy runs outside and he sees Mr. Token Black has set up his own weed farm called Credigree Weed.
Oh, hey, Randy. What do you think of the new place? Credigree weed? How stupid is that? Credigree isn't even a word.
Well, y'all came to the right business, because this shit is hard.
Oh, he didn't even talk like that before. This guy's a total phony. Now just come across the street and I'll show you some real nice weed made with integrity. These people don't even belong here.
Wow, bro, you're a racist piece of shit.
And then it concludes with Randy coming outside, pissed because Token's at his house, and he's like, he's a spy! He's a spy!
Hey, man, what's your problem?
You want a war? Well, you got one. Game on, asshole.
Game on, motherfucker.
The story of young Stan Marsh might seem incredible, but the fact is many people suffer from unconscious biases. If you or someone you know might have also thought the name Tolkien didn't come from J.R.R. Tolkien, then please call 1-800-I-am-a-giant-piece-of-shit, because you are the problem.
Yep.
Oh my gosh, I guess we're the giant pieces of shit. All right, so let's jump into some trivia here, guys. Moving forward here, that's basically the synopsis and the whole recap there of that episode. So a couple trivia facts here. All right, some trivia facts here. As of this episode, Token's name has, as we mentioned, been officially changed to Tolkien Black, or just if you just roll it, Tolkien. You can just say it normally. Just say it Tolkien. It is possible that this change is only temporary, seeing as Tolkien has admitted to being embarrassed of his name, so he could eventually change it in the future. The changing of the spelling of Tolkien's name has introduced many continuity errors, though, in the series, as his name has been spelled out on many occasions, including Tolkien by himself when he signed the record contract in Wing, and Token Black Prod in Raising the Bar. Oh, I'm sorry, Token Black Productions when he did the Raising the Bar episode.
Yep.
Wendy, Red, Baby, and Nellie raised their hands when asked if they knew how Tolkien's name was spelled, even though they spelled his name Token in the List episode. His name has also been updated in many media released by SouthPark Studios, such as GIFs or videos. His nickname was originally referred to the phrase as the Token Black Guy, as for a black character for the series with racial diversity. It is also a fourth wall breaking moment when Stan says to his doctor, Another fourth wall breaking moment is when the doctor looks right at the audience and says that they should not have thought Token's name was Token throughout this whole episode and basically the series, right?
Yeah.
Cartman, as we mentioned, was listening to Canada on Strike. This is also possible that this is alluding to the trucker protest currently happening in Ottawa. In the assembly scene, Millie Larson is seen wearing a purple coat rather than her green one. Steve tells Randy that he is a co-executive of a financial consulting firm in Here Comes the Neighborhood. Tolkien stated that his dad was a lawyer, though. On Steve's Tesla, the license plate reads as it means Steve Black. That's what we found out what Mr. Black's name is. Joe Mama, which could be read as a phrase as play as an insult joke to Yo Mama. And of course, the license plate can also be seen on the car that Ted drives before he is killed in Night of the Living Homeless, and on Leanne's car in Kuntu Heights site. So what about some pop culture? What did you get there?
The episode is commentary on how many companies are hiring people of different ethnic groups strictly based on their physical appearance and in the interest of appearing inclusive rather than on merit and skill. It's kind of funny that this is coming up in the NFL this week with the Brian Flores lawsuit and the basically just teams finding ways to skirt around the Art Rooney rule.
Right, exactly. Where you're supposed to, for those unaware, don't watch football, the Art Rooney rules suggest, or it basically states that NFL owners and clubs are supposed to interview different individuals from backgrounds, diversities, cultures, racial diversity, essentially.
Yes, exactly.
You have to give them an opportunity. You can't just only hire white coaches.
Right. You have to give them an interview. And the allegations now are that a lot of teams already know who they're going to hire and are just interviewing this, and each team is interviewing the same candidates, it seems.
Right.
So, but moving on. Obviously, there are multiple references to J.R.R. Tolkien, mostly from the books that Stan reads during the montage, including The Lord of the Rings, Tales from the Perilous Realm, The Adventures of Tom Bombadil, and The Hobbit. He also reads the war and works of J.R.R. Tolkien. Randy compares himself and Steve Black to Ben and Jerry, Ben Cohen and Jerry Greenfield, the obvious founders of Ben and Jerry's. This is interesting because in April of last year, just in time for 420, actually, Ben and Jerry's released a CBD infused ice cream after cannabis was legalized in a couple
really
states.
Good. It's really good.
I haven't had it yet. I'm gonna have to try. Stan and Tolkien were both playing the board game with a pop-up castle, which may reference the pop-up Magic Castle games.
Tired of this jive-ass dragon shit.
The first version of Black Puppy, White Puppy is a parody of Ebony and Ivory by Stevie Wonder and Paul McCartney. The rap version is Rack City by Tyga. Tyga really not cool when people parody his songs.
Right.
And then Credigree Weed is obviously a parody of Pedigree Weed, which is an actual cannabis strain.
All right, and finally, to wrap this up, just a couple notes, maybe some things we liked. Obviously, the funniest moment in this story, or this whole episode, in my opinion, is the conclusion with a guy coming on screen and calling us all a piece of shit. I thought that was hysterical, especially because he was the same fucking doctor from earlier that called Stan a piece of shit. Get out of my office. So that was a nice callback there in the episode. I liked Cartman watching the Canada on strike. Again, callback to previous episodes, and as we mentioned there in the trivia, potentially because Canada truckers are currently on strike right now out there in the Ottawa area. So I thought I liked those calls. The whole episode itself, I thought was funny. I thought that was a really good, there was some good dynamic between Randy and Steve. And then I liked Stan's side story of him coming to the conclusion, oh shit, I'm a racist piece of shit. But them putting it on us, that's hysterical. That's a big fuck you to the fans from South Park. Like, what are you talking about? We've never been racist. It's you that's been racist the whole time.
Yeah, totally. That's some narcissism. Well, I mean, they're not being narcissistic
making fun
themselves,
of themselves.
but
initially, right when the show started, that was the point of the character. Oh, we got to put one black character.
And I mean, that was what a lot. That was the running joke in the 90s with almost any black character in the comedy show. Like you had the token black character from Not Another Teen Movie. I can't like even all I'm here is to say damn shit, right. And that's what. And then like he runs into the other black dude and they're like, the fuck are you doing here, man? So like that was the running joke in the late 90s, early aughts.
Yeah, so I mean, good on them for correcting the situation going forward, obviously, because as the show continues to be longstanding, it is in poor taste that his name is Token Black, and he's not the only black person in town as well now too, so it doesn't even make sense from like a storyline standpoint.
Right. And I would like to point out though, like even though they're culturally correcting themselves, Simpsons did it first.
Simpsons did it.
Simpsons did it.
Simpsons. Ladies and gentlemen, that's going to be your review for another edition right here on
Suck my balls. Suck my balls. Suck my balls. Suck my balls.
Suck My Balls, a South Park review. Of course, as we mentioned at the top of the show, I'm your host in the heat and I can't be beat. I'm your guy who's high where the air is dry, your boy, MSG. Follow me on Twitter and on Instagram at Matthew_Schaffer. You can follow us as a podcast by going to Linktree and just typing in South Park Pod. Or just Google South Park Pod Linktree and it'll come right up with all of our links. Or if you want to directly follow us, we're on Twitter and Instagram at Suck My Balls Pod. On Facebook at South Park Pod. Email us at suckmyballspod@gmail.com. As I pointed out at the top of the show, we also had a fan who sent in some feedback to us. Jordan Joseph Nash, shout out to you. He messaged me and said, hey, have you guys noticed Stan's voice in the new episode? And at the time I responded and said, I didn't notice too much of a difference myself, but you're the second or third person to say that. And he said, "Oh, really? I noticed it right away for the new episode that came out last night. Sounds like Stan is going through puberty." So shout out to you, Jordan. And apparently you and that was kind of the same sentiment you had, Joe. So
Yep.
Well, speaking of that, dirty Joe, what's going on?
March 13th next month, 5 Points, Denver area, Primos Pro Wrestling, Denver Death Trip. You can get those tickets right now at theroxydenver.com. I should also be making the rounds. Even if I'm not there, check out the Level Up Expo in Las Vegas, February 25th through 27th. Versus Pro Wrestling's going to be there. You're also going to have a lot of cool old school video game convention and stuff. If you're an old, February 25th through 27th,
all right, so
up in Las Vegas. Great old school game convention. If you're a wrestling fan, check it out. If you're a video game fan, retro gaming fan, then definitely check it the fuck out. And also Pride Style 3 will be on Twitch March 11th.
All right, well, there you go, ladies and gentlemen. That's Jovenel. I'm Matthew Schaffer. Shout out to our boy Scoop. Fuck you, Scoop.
Fuck you, Scoop.
Fuck you, Scoop. We'll be back next Wednesday, as we normally are every Wednesday. We drop a brand new podcast, and we are also doing a little bit more video clips. So check out our YouTube is right here. You can see kind of a shortened version if you don't have time to listen to the whole podcast of Butt Out. And we'll be back next week for Raisins, and hopefully in a brand new episode of South Park as well here. From season 25. I'm your boy Matt Schaefer. That's Joe Vernal. Thanks for stopping by.
Suck my balls. Suck my balls. Suck my balls. Suck my balls. Suck my balls.